This trip was located on the Green River, starting in Green River, Utah, United States of America, right there. We made it to Green River. About to start pumping up the boat. It's official. We have launched from Green River. Bye, Green River. We're on our first family rafting trip.
Gently down the street. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream.
It's your first whitewater rapid. You're doing so good. Sunset at Green River. Desert Solitaire, Edward Abbey. Author's introduction. About 10 years ago, I took a job as a seasonal ranger in a place called Arches National Monument near the little town of Moab in southeast Utah.
The first morning. This is the most beautiful place on earth. There are many such places. Every man, every woman carries in heart and mind the image of the ideal place, the right place, the one true home, known or unknown, actual or visionary. A houseboat in Kashmir, a view down Atlantic Avenue in Brooklyn, a gray Gothic farmhouse 2 stories high at the end of a Red Dog Road in the Allegheny Mountains, a cabin on the shore of a blue lake in spruce and fir country, a greasy alley near the Hoboken waterfront, or even possibly, for those of a less demanding sensibility, the world to be seen from a comfortable apartment high in the tender, velvety smog of Manhattan, Chicago, Paris, Tokyo, Rio, or Rome. There's no limit to the human capacity for the homing sentiment. Theologians, sky pilots, astronauts have even felt the appeal of home calling to them from up above, in the cold black outback of interstellar space. For myself, I'll take Moab, Utah. I don't mean the town itself, of course, but the country which surrounds it, the canyon lands, the slick rock desert, the red dust and the burnt cliffs and the lonely sky, all that which lies beyond the ends of the roads. The choice became apparent to me this morning when I stepped out of a Park Service house trailer, my caravan, to watch for the first time in my life the sun come up over the hoodoo stone of Arches National Monument. I wasn't able to see much of it last night after driving all day from Albuquerque, 450 miles. I reached Moab after dark in cold, windy, clouded weather. At park headquarters north of town, I met the superintendent and the chief ranger. the only permanent employees, except for one maintenance man in this particular unit of America's National Park System. After coffee, they gave me a key to the house trailer and directions on how to reach it. I'm required to live and work not at headquarters, but this one-man station, some 20 miles back in the interior on my own. The way I wanted it, naturally, or I'd never have asked for the job. Leaving the headquarters area and the lights of Moab, I drove 12 miles farther north on the highway until I came to a dirt road on the right, where a small wooden sign pointed the way. Arches National Monument, 8 miles. I left the pavement, turned east into the howling wilderness. Wind roaring out of the northwest, black clouds across the stars. All I could see were clumps of brush and scattered junipers along the roadside. Then another modest signboard, warning, quicksand, do not cross wash when water is running. The wash looked perfectly dry in my headlights. I drove down, across, up the other side and on into the night. Glimpses of weird humps of pale rock on either side, like petrified elephants, dinosaurs, Stone Age hobgoblins. Now and then something alive scurried across the road. Kangaroo mice, a jackrabbit, an animal that looked like a cross between a raccoon and a squirrel, the ring-tailed cat. Farther on, a pair of mule deer started from the brush and bounded obliquely through the beams of my lights, raising puffs of dust which the wind, moving faster than my pickup truck, caught and carried ahead of me out of sight into the dark. The road, narrow and rocky, twisted sharply left and right, dipped in and out of tight ravines, climbing by degrees toward a summit which I would see only in the light of the coming day. Snow was swirling through the air when I crossed the unfenced line and passed the boundary marker of the park. A quarter mile beyond, I found the ranger station, a wide place in the road, an informational display under a lean-to shelter, and 50 yards away, the little tin government house trailer where I would be living for the next 6 months. A cold night, a cold wind, the snow falling like confetti. In the lights of the truck, I unlocked the house trailer, got out bedroll and baggage, and moved in. By flashlight, I found the bed, unrolled my sleeping bag, my boots, and crawled in and went to sleep at once. The last I knew was the shaking of the trailer and the wind and the sound from inside of hungry mice scampering around the good news that their long, lean, lonesome winter was over. Their friend and provider had finally arrived. This morning I awake before sunrise, stick my head out of the sack, peer through a frosty window at a scene dim and vague with flowing mists, dark fantastic shapes looming beyond, an unlikely landscape. I get up, moving about in long underwear and socks, stooping carefully under the low ceiling and lower doorways of the house trailer. A machine for living, built so efficiently and compactly, there's hardly room for a man to breathe. An iron lung in it is, with windows and Venetian blinds. The mice are silent, watching me from their hiding places, but the wind is still blowing and outside the ground is covered with snow. The mice are silent, watching me from their hiding places, but the wind is still blowing, and outside the ground is covered with snow. Cold as a tomb, a jail, a cave. I lie down on the dusty floor on the cold linoleum sprinkled with mouse turds and light the pilot on the butane heater. Once this thing gets going, the place warms up fast in a dense, unhealthy way, with a layer of heat under the ceiling where my head is and nothing but frigid air from the knees down. But we've got all the indispensable conveniences: gas cook stove, gas refrigerator, hot water heater, sink with running water if the pipes aren't frozen, storage cabinets and shelves, everything within arm's reach of everything else. The gas comes from 2 steel bottles in a shed outside. The water comes by gravity flow from a tank buried in a hill close by, quite luxurious for the wilds. There's even a shower stall and a flush toilet with a dead rat in the bowl. Pretty soft. My poor mother raised 5 children without any of these luxuries, and might be doing without them yet if it hadn't been for Hitler, war, and general prosperity. Time to get dressed, get out, and have a look at the lay of the land. Fix a breakfast. I try to pull on my boots, but they're stiff as iron from the cold. I light a burner on the stove and hold the boots upside down above the flame until they are malleable enough to force my feet into. I put on a coat and step outside. Into the center of the world, God's navel, Abby's country, the red wasteland. The sun is not yet in sight, but signs of the advent are plain to see. Lavender clouds sail like a fleet of ships across the pale green dawn, each cloud plain flat on the wind has a base of fiery gold. Southeast, 20 miles by line of sight, stand the peaks of the Sierra La Sal, 12 to 13,000 feet above sea level, all covered with snow and rosy in the morning sunlight. The air is dry and clear as well as cold. The last foglands left over from last night's storm are scudding away like ghosts, fading into nothing but the wind and the sunrise. The view is open and perfect in all directions except to the west, where the ground rises and the skyline is only a few hundred yards away. Looking toward the mountains, I see the dark gorge of the Colorado River, 5 or 6 miles away, carved through the sandstone mesa, the nothing of the river itself down inside the gorge. Southward, on the far side of the river, lies the Moab Valley between 1,000-foot walls of rock with the town of Moab somewhere on the valley floor, too small to be seen from here. Beyond the Moab Valley is more canyon and tableland stretching away to the Blue Mountains 50 miles south. On the north and northwest, I see the Roan Cliffs and the Book Cliffs, the two level face of the Uinta Plateau. Along the foot of those cliffs, maybe 30 miles off, invisible from where I stand, runs US 650, a major east-west artery of commerce, traffic, and rubbish, in the main line of the Denver-Rio Grande Railroad. To the east, under the spreading sunrise, are more mesas, more canyons, league on league. Yeah. Oh, and there must be more. Ooh, I saw his big tail.
Hi, Beaver.
Hi, Beaver.